Welcome to our little orchard. At first glance, it's not much to look at. There are 8 fruit trees and a grapevine. And for a year we neglected this space, and we have no idea what sort of care these plants were or were not receiving before. So this spring, we took on the task of pruning and revitalizing each tree and vine, hoping to find the value in them. It's taken a lot of time and effort to care for these plants. There was a feeling of satisfaction as old dead growth was stripped away to encourage the healthy branches to thrive. Then the thick layers of rotted leaves were raked out, leaving a clean, healthy area. And maybe the most frustrating chore has been clipping back all of the small branches growing where we don't want them. But at the end of the day, spending time looking out over the valley, the sun setting, watering each tree has been a calm, peaceful experience. A time to appreciate the work put into growing healthy plants and joy at finding unexpected fruit. But you know, we can find even more joy in the fruit we cultivate with people.
There are 2 years in school that I will never forget. The first one was my own 3rd grade year. That was the year I had Mrs. Pisner and her student teacher, Mr. Hansen. Both of them were creative, innovative teachers who held all of us students to a very high standard. But they did so with love and caring, letting us know they believed in us and all that we could accomplish. They planted a seed. Well, that seed carried over into my own teaching. And I'll never forget the 2010-2011 school year. It was a few days before school began, and I was in my classroom getting things ready when a mother came in, and she was almost frantic. I could see the stress in her eyes as she let me know about her son, who had a very good heart, but could be a handful. Those were her words. And I assured her that I really understood boys who could be a handful, that I had a knack with them. And I don't know if she left feeling any more comforted at that thought, but in a few days I got to meet Danny and all of his schoolmates. Now I'll tell you, as far as teaching goes, I had 2 favorite classes, and this was one of them. They were bright students, they were funny, they could give and take verbally, and they were just such a fun class. And it didn't take but a couple of weeks for Danny to go home and tell his mother that life was good in my class, that it was okay. And we had a great year. Now, fast forward to a couple of weeks ago, leaving the high school parking lot. We had just paid fees, picked up schedules, figured out the daily routes, and we're just getting ready to head out. And I looked up as I entered the car, and there in the aisle ahead of me was Danny and his mom. I was so excited that I didn't even close the door. I just hopped out of the car and practically ran over, and they were having a conversation, so I just stood and waited until they saw me. And the next thing I knew, Danny was flying into my arms and just clinging to me and hugged me for like a full minute. This young 18-year-old man just holding on to me and so joyous to see me. And hugs followed from his mother and his brother, and it was just a wonderful reunion to have him tell me what had been going on in school, dreams that had changed, where his future lay now, sharing what his plans were and his nervousness at doing it. And I said to him, you know, Danny, you're going to do just fine. You're going to be okay. You're going to make this. It'll work. And he said to me, that really helps. I was scared, but you know, that really helps. And the thought that I still have this influence on his life, that the seed that I planted is still growing in him, and maybe he'll carry that on as life goes on. It's good to see the relationships that we have cultivated and watered and trimmed and helped to grow into the best that they can be. Sometimes we find plants or people who are struggling to thrive, but if we give them the attention and care they need, they will, in time, bear good fruit and maybe even plant their own seeds to cultivate and care for.